Right guys, hi, Andy Work here. I'm putting this introduction in because I've been trying for weeks to work out how to explain this next movie. Now, you may have seen the last one, the finished version of the Ulrice 757, done, finished, right? Now, while I've been doing that, I've been talking about this other one I've been doing because the Ulrice is so easy to do. This is my Strife, which has ultimately become known as Beauty because somebody said that's a thing of beauty, so thanks for giving it a name. However, while I was doing the Ulrice, I was filming the movie for that, and I didn't film a lot of stuff for this, so this video is just going to be what I can dig out of my phone. It's basically going to be watching a mixture of Star Trek episodes with all the different timelines jumping around all over the place, if you can understand that analogy. Yeah, it's a mess, but it does explain certain things about what's going on with it. But as you can see, it's pretty much finished. All I have to do is print some lenses for the scope and do the paint job. Yeah, it'll be over soon, so just bear with me, and thanks for your time and thanks for your support with the channel and all that sort of thing. I appreciate that. And I hope you had a safe and happy new year, and things go well for you in the future. See ya. Right, hi guys, Andy Work here. This is sort of, I don't know what you call it, a catch-up movie. Right, now, about, I don't know, 4 weeks ago I started working on the Ulrice 757, and very quickly I realised it's going to be easy. Rance has done a great job modelling the parts, everything fits together, all I had to do was print them. Since I'm male and we can only do one thing at a time, and the Ulrice 757 was virtually building itself, I was wandering through my workshop the other day, wondering what I could do, and I noticed a Rayven. And I thought, oh, I'd like to mod one of them, but I've only got one, so I don't want to, you know, jump on it and cut things up and do things to it. And then I looked next to it, and there was another Rayven. And another Rayven, and it turns out I got 5 of the things, so I jumped straight on it. So this one, despite the dirt and muck, actually works. They've got a funny thing right there. There's a really tight pin or peg or something. I don't know if it was solvent welded. So anyway, so as you can see, I've already been playing around, and as I said, this video is several weeks after I started the Ulrice. I've already been printing parts for this. And one of the kits I downloaded, I think it was off Thingiverse. Honestly, I cannot remember the name of the person. I'm so sorry. I'll try and look it up. He had this extended magazine catch, which I've modified just a bit with a bit more stiffness at the back. So I'm going to put that in. Right, hi guys. Now that previous introduction you saw was absolutely pointless because I did that 2 days ago, and when I went inside to the actual computer to look up all the files I had on my phone, they were either out of shot, blurred, or me trying to keep the camera from falling over. So, complete waste of time. I don't even know why it's on this movie, probably just to pad it out. You know what you've got to do. Now, I'll try to cover the whole lot of 3 or 4 weeks, 6 weeks of building from memory. I've got some notes here I've got to refer to. Now, how this all started was I saw the Strife and I wanted to make it, so I thought it was great. So I actually got online and I bought a kit from somebody. I think I've put the name in the introduction. And one part of it was this, the reason I bought it was this cool idea of this butt that goes on like that. It just clicks on. Hang on, you guys got to push it on. There you go. Now I thought that was pretty cool because I could do anything I wanted here. So what I did, I designed this and printed it to stick on there, to screw on there. And the reason it's got 2 big holes in it was I was going to use PVC pipe to have an extendable buttstock. So put that on there, bolt that on there, and you get that. And yeah, I'm horrified too. It's absolutely ridiculously looking, isn't it? It's disgusting. So that has now become a stand for anything I put in my voice to rest against. Always reuse stuff. And the more I looked at this and the whole kit, the less I liked it, unfortunately. That's just my taste. I bought it, I paid for it, I'm prepared to wear that, that's not an issue. but I got a little bit disheartened with this, so I decided, okay, I'll do my own. And when I say I'll do my own, it means I got onto Thingiverse and looked for another kit, and I found one. But I only used one part of it, which was the butt. I think I've included the name of the guy who did this as well. Now, mistakes I made here, I've used the brass inserts to use the screws, melt them in. Everything's fine, except on this side, that insert broke off at the base, and I've got to work out how to get the screw off. What I should have done was, where these go into this actual stuff, is make the corner completely solid material. Don't put it like that, balancing on a very small point, because there's a lot of stresses there, and they'll snap, just like this one did. But anyway, we'll move on and we'll get this sort of put together, just to show you where I'm at. So what I've done is, so that goes there like that, get the screw out, that goes there like that. So that gives me my buttstock. And I'll just put some screws in, get this all lined up. I mean, I would probably, in future, if I was to make one of these again, and I probably will, I'll probably modify this so the support comes right up to the midpoint, and maybe even the same down that way. So it's got a nice block of plastic, not just a little tiny little tube supporting it. Okay, now I seem to have lost the other screw. That's fine, two will do. So that's the first step. So that gives me my length, because I'm a pretty big guy, and that from there to there, I'm not sure exactly what the length is, and I haven't got a tape measure anywhere here, but I've mentioned it before numerous times. I read somewhere that the length from your trigger, the trigger finger to the butt, is anywhere from 11.25 to 13.5, right? That's in actual gun books. Now, I'm not pretty sure which gun it applies to, but I find I've got a length of about 16.5 inches, so go figure. Anyway, so next was, next thing I did was, I actually, before I printed this, I redesigned the outside, because I wanted recesses where I could put sling swivels and straps and stuff, and I put one at the bottom, which I thought was going to be the bottom, but then I worked out I'd accidentally put it at the top. But then I had an idea. I went, aha, what I can use that is a key point for my rear butt. This is a top strap for the butt. So I'll put a recess on the bottom of that, made it fit that. And I've put the brass inserts in again with the screws, but before you do that, you have to put this piece on. So this piece goes on this way, just there like that. Now it comes back a bit in a minute, but first I printed a little bit of Picatinny rail. That goes in there, that goes in there, and that goes like that. So once I screw these down, ain't fast forward wonderful? I can then push this back. So that's locked into place, and it has two screws either side here. This was because there's a lot of movement here, which is causing gaps to show up. So what I've done, I've not only put two screws there, I've also put two bigger screws here. And this is just to stop the movement in the butt stock. And if you know my work, you know I prefer screws to glue, because glue is permanent. Once it's done, there's no going back. And I haven't had a lot of experience, I haven't had a lot of success with glue. And then you've got two little screws up here, and I've just dug two out of my screw box, and they go in and hold that in place. So that gives the back end of the blaster the extra stiffness it needs, and pieces aren't moving around. Okay guys, here's my method for drilling holes in this stuff. You don't want to drill a hole through there, because you just split the material the way it's been printed. These have been printed vertically. So what I do, I've got my little gas burner torch thingy here, and I'll heat up a drill bit. Doesn't take much. Push it through, and that's going through into a much thicker piece below. Right, so I've got my hole there, and I can put a nerve screw or anything, or have anything proud. But if I want to do something with the countersunk head, and I don't want it sticking up, you get a bigger drill, bigger wider point, get the burner again, heat up the point. Now if you try and drill through this normally, like a normal drill, it will drill, and it'll catch and it'll dig, and you'll get a hole. But you don't want a hole. What you want is a countersunk recess, like a cone shape. So just heat it up and then put it in, but then go in reverse. And you've got a countersunk hole there, right? Now it looks pretty messy, but it's very easy to fix up. The original hole you melted there is still there. The screw will go straight in. This stuff is a mess, but just get yourself a, I think it's called a number 18 blade. And just scrape it off like that. If in the process of making the countersink, the original hole gets filled up with plastic, don't fight it, just melt it again. You just want to make it easy to go through. There we go. It doesn't matter how badly you mess it up, because it's still going to work. Because if you put the screw through while the plastic's still warm, it'll cool around it and you get a nice tight fit. There you go. Flush, below the surface, nice tight fit. The cheek rest, and I put this bevel on it so it mats with that, and it necessitated cutting a bit of material out of here. So I've gone back retroactively and modified the STL file and taken that material out, because I may put this up on my Etsy site again, depending on what sort of feedback I get. So tell me what you think. Anyway, so that's that much done. Next piece to go on is this. Now this is from the same kit as this, and it works really well. You just cover that space there. I probably don't really need it, but it's there. I used it, so there's a bit more support. So that goes in up there and just butts up against the front of the motor housing here. So that's done. Then we have the forestock. Now this is my own design. One thing I stuffed up was I made too many holes back here. These 6, if I put this up on my Etsy, those 6 will be deleted, because cleaning up those holes is a nightmare, because you've got the recess for the muzzle there. So it's a bit of a pain. The rest is pretty easy. So put the muzzle on. It's a very tight fit too. Turn it to click, and then this bit goes on. This is the front rail. Locks on like that, and it's just got one little screw right there that goes in, locks the rail in place, so there's no gaps, no movement, because it's held from both ends. Then I printed a scope. You may have seen the short I did for this called Beauty Needs a Crown. This is just one I had on my computer. I'd done it some time ago for something, I can't remember what. But it sort of works on this design. It looks good. And I just printed an interface piece and detailed it a bit to fit this rail. And just one hole there with one screw. Because that's all you need. Slide it back there. There's the screw hole right there. And I'll just tighten it in. Oops, yeah, that hasn't been glued on yet. That'll be when the painting happens. Okay, done. So that's that much. Okay. Next thing, foregrip, just printed that out. All the different colours is just because I had different colours at filament at the time. The thing's going to be painted, so it doesn't matter to me. And these ones, which are half and half, they're all obviously all printed pointing upwards. So dark red to start with, and then the sand colour. So I'll just use whatever film I got at the time. It doesn't matter to me, because, as I said, I end up painting it anyway. That slides on there. That's a bit loose, so I put a screw in there as well. I could, you know, print like a wedge or something to stick in the end just to hold it in place, whatever. But I'm not sure about if I'm going to be using this, because of the next step is the muzzle. And originally it was just going to be a straightforward muzzle in the blaster. Looks pretty cool. And the usual thing, a couple of screws. But what I've decided to do, I've got a red dot sight, and so I've put a hole through there. And it's going to fit in there. I've got to sand that out a bit, it's a bit tight. And then run the remote switch, which I have one of, but unfortunately it doesn't seem to be working, so I'm going to have to get a remote switch and run it down here to this foregrip. So that's why I'm not worried about that at the moment. I may have to reprint this and put a slot in this foregrip and put a slot in this that the wiring can come through. So I've got an on-off switch up there somewhere when I'm holding it. So, you know, if I was holding it like this, I could click, click with that finger, or put it on this side, click, click with the thumb. The thumb might be better because the momentary switches the momentary switches they sell have got an on-off button, but they've also got just a press for on, which is just, all you got to do is hold your finger on it and stay on. So I might do that. So yeah, that's another step, and that will be the cosmetic part of the blaster finish. So that's it. However, my previous blaster, the Old Rice 757, which was sent to me by Rance Chan, he has also sent me some files of other blasters he's got, which is really nice of him. Great. I'm really happy about that. I'll probably have to send him the files for this, which is I'm perfectly happy to do. But he's also sent me what he calls the Wolves, and this is Wolf B. And what Wolf B is a pusher, an automatic pusher. Runs off this tiny little motor here that sits in the side here. Now I'm just using a 9-volt battery, and it's not really that fast enough. In his when he sends you, if you buy a kit off him, he gives you a link where you can go and download the instructions on how to put the kit together. This is for the Old Rice 757, and it's very detailed. He tells you everything you need to know. But he also, on the first page, he gives you a list of materials, exact sizes, what you need, what you've got to order, which is great. On the Wolf, he gives you a list of materials. Now this is the Wolf B, and one of those things you need to get is a switch that goes here, which I think is one of those 3-position switches which will make the pusher draw back when you take your finger off the trigger, so the blaster doesn't jam up. So I've got to get one of those. I ordered the motor, I didn't think to order the switch. That was really clever of me. Now that's the Wolf B. The Wolf A is actually a flywheel cage. Same sort of thing, 3D printed, you put it to yourself together, and then this thing is made to slot in the back of it. And it just sits there, and it's brilliant. So that's a clever idea. Now for this build, I don't actually need the flywheel cage because I've already got one in the Strife. Now, for both this and the flywheel, the Wolf A, he says one of the things in the parts list is a 3S LiPo battery. Fair enough. So I have to get a 3S LiPo battery. I think I've got one somewhere, and I need to rewire that. I understand that. Not a problem. I'll probably have to replace these motors because 3S will probably kill it. Anybody knowledgeable about that, let me know in the comments what I should get. Something just cheap and nasty just to get it running, because once it's running and I've played with it for 5 minutes, then it's going to get stuck up on my wall and probably never touched again. So that is quite a nice compact shape, and it fits in there just like that. And the pusher comes out. Let me see if I can just push it out manually. And you can see a bit of it there. Yeah, let me just take that off. There we go. So it sits just about there, right where that pusher would be. And there's very little I have to take out. There's a bit here in this corner which is going to affect that clamp there, so I'll have to do some jiggery-pokery there. But other than that, because I can put it that far in, maybe even a little bit further. So there's not a lot to do, and I could simply, really, just shave off the back corner of this thing, which is probably all I'll need to do. And then, of course, rewire it for, you know, LiPo so the thing doesn't burst into flames when I use it. Still got this battery box, which I'm pretty sure I can probably get a LiPo battery to fit in there if I clean it out and make it a bit bigger. I really have no concept of LiPo batteries and all that sort of thing. I've got one or two somewhere for some reason. I think I got them with other blasters I built. Yeah, they're right, the Strife. Yeah, not the Strife. Yeah, the Strife, because this is not a Strife, this is a Rayven. I've probably been calling this a Strife all the time. So anyway, so that's that cool little toy. And so that's going to go in there. So I'll have that. Now, I'd love to get this as Select Fire. And I've seen the kit somewhere. I think even Blaster Tech has got one in Queensland. So I'll have to look into that. But I'm really going to have to do some research and find out how to wire such a thing up. Because, yeah, as I said, not good with electronics. Okay, I've managed to do this whole video like this without getting my fat head in the way, because I keep doing that when I shot it on my desk. So I hope that's self-explanatory. Let me know if you'd like to see it up on an Etsy site or something. And yeah, always welcome for criticisms and feedback, etc., etc. Okay, so that is the build details of the Beauty. It is called Beauty because somebody saw one of the photos I posted and said that is a thing of beauty. So I thought, yep, that's a good name. There's the Beauty, almost ready for paint. On the subject of which, I've decided on the pattern used by the Saab, the Swedish aircraft, the Saab 37 Viggen, the 35 Draken, the splinter pattern, not the greens and browns though. I am still deciding whether I'm going to do urban, which would be greys and browns and maybe blacks and possibly blues. Desert, which would be sand and earth and, oh, I don't know, maybe a bit of light blue or even pink, because pink's a desert colour. Or the one I'm leaning to at the moment is the Amtrak Federation colours for their camouflage. If you know those books, or you've seen something called Dark Horizon, which is the illustrated history of the Amtrak Federation, their colours are orange, brown, beige, pink, dark brown, in a splinter camouflage pattern. So, well, not in splinter, but I would do splinter. So, that's where I'm at the moment. If you want to give me feedback on that too, that's great. If you suggest a colour, I'm not saying I'm going to do it, but yeah. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you for the next one. Hope my camera recorded all that.